don't stand in front of a man and a fish he ain't caught yet. Honey, if the world calls me, tell him I'm fishing. I'm going fishing. Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Wouldn't you like to? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Wouldn't you like to go fishing? I'm going fishing. Woo!
Hey everybody, Jim Salmons here, and welcome to the Kayak Fishing Show live, brought to you by all these wonderful sponsors scrolling across the bottom there. And today we're going to be brought to you by Cutwater Spirits, having one of their grapefruit soda or grapefruit vodka sodas. Having a tasty one here. These are really good. If you haven't tried the Cutwater canned cocktails, they're all really good. Now, there's a few that I like better. I like these vodka sodas. Their gin and tonic is really good. What is the other one we really like? They have a cold brew that's really good. I mean, every one of them is just super, super tasty. So for a canned beverage, they're hard to beat. Wearing my Padre gear here because going to the Padre game this afternoon. As soon as I'm done here. Hopefully they do better than every other game I've been to. I have been to 5 games, and they have lost every single one of them. So hopefully we're going to turn that around today. Been really busy. I know you guys may have seen the post I put up the other day about your viewing habits, how you watch your fishing content. Are you watching it on traditional cable TV, network TV? Are you watching it on streaming services? Are you getting it all on YouTube like we are here on Kayak Fishing Tales? Of course, we're asking via a digital media, so I don't know if that influenced it, but it seemed like about 80% of the people say they're watching either streaming service or YouTube. So I'm just trying to make decisions on how we're going to broadcast our next season. I've now taken over the producer role of the TV show. And so just trying to figure all that out. It really is one of these things. I don't even know what I don't know, kind of learning on the fly, but have learned a lot, having to build media kit and build a website and all this stuff. So it's been a challenge, but it's been fun learning a lot of new stuff. Couple comments here. Liam, who is watching on Kayak Fishing Tales. How you doing, man? Bobby, I have no idea what that is. Eric, how are you? Rudy, you watch it on YouTube and Facebook. Bobby, Facebook Live if you can, but you're watching via Facebook Live. That's probably not an option for airing the full episodes of the show. We will right now what I'm looking at is primarily YouTube and Waypoint Media, which is a really, really cool streaming service. It's available on Samsung TVs. It's available through other distribution points. They have a linear, almost like a TV channel that you can watch digitally, but they also have everything on demand. So I'm leaning that way and probably continuing to stay on the World Fishing Network as well. So at least we are on one network channel. So it's a lot of things to look at and not a whole lot of time to figure it out, quite honestly. Zach, I'm addicted to Waypoint. I blame you and Ivy. Yeah. If you guys take a look at Waypoint TV, it is an app. And like I said, it is available on some TVs and other services, but it is app based, and you can watch it on your smartphone or your iPad or whatever. And you can watch all these different shows on demand. It's a pretty cool service, and that's the way I'm really leaning to go with it. Scott says I stream shows off the Outdoor channel mostly. I also stream live fishing and watch others stream live fishing on Twitch. And I had not thought of Twitch, but I mean, there's so many options out there, and you can only go with so many. But like I said, Waypoint TV is quite appealing, and it's growing every day, and it's embedded in all the Samsung TVs. So, you know, every time they sell a TV, it's available to another household. So it's a pretty cool setup. So, but still trying to figure out all the financials and everything involved, because I really want to keep the show going. But like I said, there's a lot to look at. Oh, what is this? Gabriel stepped the ballast point, huh? Or skipped the ballast point, maybe. I mean, I still love my ballast point, but these cutwaters are really, really good. And I was doing some yard work, and it was hot and everything. And this is such a nice, light, refreshing drink. So good. Scott said you haven't heard of Waypoint. Yeah, man, check it out. Like I said, it is app based, and everything. I met the guys at iCast and got a little bit more knowledge about it. I'd actually spoke with C.A. Richardson, Flats Class TV and all that, and he's the one who suggested it. And so talking to him about how it works for him, and then talking to the guys from Local Knowledge, they're all going that way. So it just seemed like a really good avenue for us. So I'll keep you posted, you know, because like I said, we really want to keep things going, but got to figure out the most economical way to do it and what makes sense financially, of course. So, one other thing I wanted to mention was I've been putting some gear together for a little auction and I got to figure out how to do this, but you know, we have our friends down at Pack Kayak Rentals in Louisiana. Their place just got wiped out. I mean, just wiped out. So I'm putting a bunch of gear together. I'm going to throw a package of lures that I've got from Band of Anglers. I'm going to throw some stuff from NRS that I've gotten, some stuff from Yak Attack. I'm going to put together a big old kayak fishing package, and we're going to put that up for auction. And I'm going to donate 100% of that to the folks down there in Louisiana to give them, you know, a little help. So stay tuned for that. I mean, it'll be a high value kind of deal. I said, I've got all these Band of Angler lures, so I'm going to throw in one or two of every one of the lures that I've got from them. Like I said, I've got some Yak Attack rod holders and the new double paddle holder. So I'm going to throw all that together in a package. I'll let you guys know what that is, and then do some kind of an auction or something for that product. But it's going to be one product. I'm not going to have a million different items. It's going to be one item, one big box of cool stuff that you'll have a chance to bid on. So I hope you can take a look at that and help support those folks, because they really need it. Rudy, what's up, Jim? Is Old Kayak Guys enjoys your media content. Jackson Kayaks, Kraken fishing. I love the Kraken. I have not been able to paddle at all. I don't know, getting old, whatever. I woke up a month ago or so, I guess, and my shoulder was bothering me, and it just has not gotten any better. I can barely lift this arm up like this high without it catching. So trying to get that under control so I can get back out on my kayak and get out and do some stuff, because it's very frustrating. What's that, Zach? Throw a Kraken in and I'll drive down. Unfortunately, there's no new Krakens out there. I just have my old Krakens, and I'm not willing to get rid of those since they're not making any more. Although there is word that they are coming back, in Europe at least. So anyway, like I said, take a look for that auction, and I'll figure out how to do it. But it'll be a lot of cool stuff. And again, I hope you guys can help us support our friends down there in Louisiana, because man, the devastation down there is just brutal. Our buddy Jameson Redding, he had a trailer down there. He was able to get his trailer out, but then he dropped it off in like Alabama or something for the folks that live at PAC, that run PAC. He dropped it off for them to live in through all of this, because their place got pretty messed up. So they are already down there. They're already rebuilding and all that, but it's still a mess, obviously. So anyway, the episode we're running today is part 2 of the last episode I ran. Didn't do an episode last week because we were on vacation. But this is from Moutcha Bay. You can see it kind of behind me here. Really cool place. They run this kayak fishing tournament every year. They have cabins, they have camping, they have yurts, great fishing. I mean, like right here in this picture behind me, there's great fishing for salmon, because there's a river up the way that are coming in to run up the river. You don't have to go very far to get out into deep water for halibut and lingcod and all the rockfish, and just an absolutely beautiful place because it's kind of in a cove, very protected. So even if the weather got kind of bad outside, you can fish inside. So really, really cool place. And we had a great time. I was fishing with my buddy Kalani, who was a very novice kayak angler. He just needed a vacation, and so I invited him to come on the shoot with me. He fell off the kayak in some very cold water, but we got him back on and everything. But we had a great, great trip. So with no further ado, I'm going to run this episode. Please share this with your friends. And if you have any questions or comments, of course, we'd love to see them. So bring those on, and let's let this episode get rolling.
This week on the Kayak Fishing Show, we're at Moutcha Bay Resort. We are going after lingcod, halibut, rockfish, and salmon. They've got it all here. Stick around. It's going to be a great show.
Word to the wise, if your mama ain't taught you, don't stand in front of a man and a fish he ain't caught yet. Honey, if the world calls me, tell him I'm fishing. I'm going fishing. Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Wouldn't you like to? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Wouldn't you like to go fishing? I'm going fishing. Woo!
This week on Jackson Kayaks Kayak Fishing Show with Jim Salmons. Jim and old friend Kalani are in Moutcha Bay on Vancouver Island, British Columbia. They're staying in the relative luxury of Nooka Marine Adventures Lodge, only steps away from the bay. After a fantastic couple of days hunting for big fish offshore, it's time to begin fishing for the salmon that the bay is famous for.
We're up here at Moutcha Bay Lodge in beautiful British Columbia on Vancouver Island. It is an absolutely beautiful, remote location. I mean, it takes some effort to get here, but the little bit of effort that you put out to get here, totally worth it.
Well, Moutcha Bay Resort is one of 3 resorts that Nooka Marine Adventures has. This is our land-based resort. We have lodge accommodation, 39 campsites, yurt accommodation. We also have a full-service marina, 35 boats, half of which are used for fully guided fishing trips, and the other half which can be rented.
It is my first visit ever. It's absolutely picturesque. I love this place. If I could, I'd stay. And I would absolutely encourage anybody who gets a chance to come to Canada, Vancouver Island, British Columbia. Make it happen.
Kalani is an old friend of mine. I mean, we've known each other for probably 20 years.
I met Jim through Aline Salmons. My wife and she are really good friends.
He's a pretty inexperienced kayak angler.
So he picks on me a lot, but I guess it's necessary to be the whipping boy.
Well, the great thing about this location being in Nootka Sound is that we kind of get two kicks of the can. We're able to fish for the migratory fish that are heading south to the States and southern waters in Canada. We have 60 to 80,000 fish returning to the Canooma River, which is right here in front of us. Fantastic freshwater fishing, saltwater fishing, and a lot of the fishing in Nootka Sound is done in protected, very calm water.
The things you can do at Moutcha Bay Resort, just straight off the docks here, and a very short paddle. There's some rivers that have big salmon in them. For a kayak angler, it's really a super ideal location because you can catch fish just straight out in front of the resort. I mean, they're right there.
This time of year, the salmon have been staging in front of the river, planning to do one thing, and that's to go up the river and spawn. The salmon that have not been in or near the fresh water for as long will be more of a silver color. The ones that have been subjected to fresh water for a prolonged period of time tend to go a little bit darker. And the longer they spend in the river, the more that flesh starts to deteriorate. I live on the east side of Vancouver Island in Courtenay. It's 25 minutes to a ski hill. I can play golf and ski in the same day in the wintertime. There are 3 rivers converging on one running into the ocean. So the freshwater opportunities and the saltwater opportunities are phenomenal.
That was crazy though, man. It was just a freaking train of fish go by me. That was awesome. So we slid upriver. Within a couple of minutes, we already saw some fish rolling in here. So our hopes are pretty high.
Oh my God.
We've targeted salmon on several occasions on our show. Up in Alaska, and it's always been, we're here a week too late, we're here a week too early, whatever the case may be, because, we plan our trip so far in advance, and these fish are migratory, they're moving, and it's just always a matter of being there at the right time. But to get up into the rivers and to see the volume of fish that were up there was just amazing. There's a huge school just circling around and around and around in that pocket down there.
They're all sitting right in here, same, probably twice the size of that one.
I'm on.
Of course, we're not down there.
I think at that point, when I caught that fish, I wanted to bring it up to where the camera was, and I laid my rod down. I did something really stupid, laid my rod down, and I was paddling toward them, and then the fish came back towards me and brought my rod back and just snapped the tip off my rod. One of the few times I've ever broken a rod while kayak fishing. It's just like, you idiot. Hate when it happens from your own mistake. What did I just do here? Sorry. There we go.
There's a huge school just circling around and
This happens when you're trying to do all this stuff all by yourself here. Gilly, watching over at Kayak Fishing Tales. Thanks for watching and thanks for the compliment. I really appreciate it. Bobby Taylor Tucker, you took kayak fishing to another level. Thank you, man. I've worked at it a long time. I've been at it a long time. Now there's so many guys doing stuff that I was doing a long time that people thought I was absolutely crazy for doing. And now, it's a little more commonplace. I mean, like I was the first person to catch a marlin off of a kayak. And I mean, the amount of news we got for catching marlin off of our kayaks. And then it became almost commonplace for it to happen, especially like on the East Coast where guys are catching billfish, catching these really small sailfish, but it's still impressive. It's a sailfish you're catching off the kayak. So it's definitely more commonplace. So it just doesn't get the buzz that it used to. It's actually funny. It's like now, oh, you got a marlin? Okay, whatever. Michael Callow, have to watch later. Got to go to the famous Noosa River in Queensland for 4 days. So that sounds tough. Great. Fishing is great this time of year. See you soon, Jim. Come down under one day when everything gets back to normal. I would love to, man. That's definitely a place I want to go. Just got to get some sponsors behind it. If we can get somebody there who wants to help put on the show, help us bring this there, I'm there. And as I said, right now we're just trying to figure out how to keep our show going. But that's the plan. That's what I'm spending all my time doing right now, is working on keeping the show going. So let's keep this episode going.
And around in that pocket down there.
And they're all sitting right in here. Same, probably twice the size of that one.
I'm on. Of course, we're not down there.
Yeah, it jumped backwards for some reason here.
This week, Jim is on Vancouver Island, British Columbia with Nootka Marine Adventures. Today, the guys are paddling down the rivers and tributaries to fish for the big Chinooks that are heading up the river for the spawn.
Oh, just got this pool. Saw these fish jumping in here and made a cast right where one jumped, and boom.
Yeah, that might be where I broke
this guy
the
just
rod.
bulldogging. Because I couldn't freaking turn him. Once again, snagged in the hand. Ah!
That's where it was. I just broke my rod.
Well, I just said this is an excellent way to break a rod, and I broke my rod.
Dummy.
Ah. Well, I don't know if he was worth a rod, but yeah, tail-hooked fisher, you just can't turn their heads. It's so easy when you come to Canada to get away. I mean, you have the big cities, sure, but it's very easy to get away from all that. Within a couple-hour drive, you can be out in the middle of nowhere on some small lake or on a stream or whatever, and getting on some fish of a lifetime, fish that you won't see in the lower states. I mean, I absolutely love coming to Canada to fish. It's one of my favorite places ever. I think the great thing about the kayak was to be able to, as quietly and stealthily as humanly possible, slide up these rivers and get into these areas where the fish were, to see nature without disturbing it. Oh my goodness. Nice fish, huh? Guy kind of kicked my butt because I snagged him and I couldn't turn his head. So it was all fight the wrong way the whole time. Oh, I mean, it was hooked just back of the dorsal. I mean, it's like you have no leverage. You can't turn them at all.
We went further up the river, and I have never seen fish boil or move like salmon. It's like it's a whole freeway full of salmon. Biggest fish I've ever seen moving. I learned that they're not really hungry at that point. They are just protecting on their way on their migration. So when I throw a lure, you're really aggravating them, and instinctively they'll strike.
So although our plan is pretty much to catch and release, we wouldn't mind keeping a salmon, but the law here is that if you do snag a fish like my two fish, legally you have to release them. So big, beautiful salmon, but the law is the law. You got to release them if you snag them. So back they went. So hopefully excuse to fish for more.
So yeah, here we are at the mouth of the river. We're just working our way down from a nice little couple hours fishing up above, and we're big school of fish here in front of us. We're trying to get on top of them. There's a good chance there might be some more silver fish in here. Generally, the closer to the river mouth, the less time they've spent in fresh water, the fresher the fish are, and the more silver they are as well. So we'll see what happens.
There's fish right in front of me.
So we're using little CJ specials here, and we want to get a bit of action. These fish aren't really actively feeding, but we're going to try to entice them into taking. So giving it a lot of action as you're bringing in a little flick, little turn, little flick, little turn, let it sink a bit. We're hoping that that's going to aggravate them enough to
There
actually...
you go with my method, which is just throw it down, let it sink to the bottom, and yank it up through them. I think the coolest thing for me really was just to finally hook one and realize how incredibly powerful those fish are. I mean, I'm a saltwater guy, offshore guy, catch a lot of, jacks that really pull hard. And these salmon, they give it their all, man. They are very, very tough fish, and were super fun.
And I don't know if it shows it in this episode or not, but there was one point we were, excuse me, we were fishing along this one part of the river. There was a bend in the river, and there was a big old bear just sitting
Welcome
there
back.
staring at
Now
us.
We're joining Jim Salmons
I'm not a fan of
some
bears.
cemeteries around Moutcha Bay. James, their steadfast guide, has taken the guys to a special spot just loaded with fish and local wildlife.
Well, James took us to his little secret spot, a tributary out of Nootka Sound. We used the kayaks to get up the river, but they're so windy. It's so windy right now. We've got this school of fish just stacked up in one spot. If I stayed in my kayak, I'd just be blowing past them. So, we use the kayak to get to the spot and then just fish from the bank. There's no reason really to fight them from the kayak. Oh, we just came up this river, saw this spot, saw some fish rising. Second cast, boom, beautiful fish. Got it. Oh, almost had it. There we go. All right, well, beautiful fish, hard fighter. He deserves to go back in. We're going to let this guy go. You let this bad boy go. What a good fish. Connie's on.
It has been a while. This not. We got to land it to make it count, right?
And you got yours in the mouth too, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I'm glad that I got finally a chance. I don't even know what kind of salmon this is. It's a Chinook salmon. All right, buddy, here you go. Thank you. Just like you said, toss it out there. Quick flicks.
This place is incredible. Moutcha Bay Resort. I mean, there's so many fish up here. The accommodations are beautiful. Come on. Oh. I mean, it's just such a beautiful location. They have all the amenities, docks for just tons of boats for guides, and the accommodations. There we go. Oh, that was an awesome jump. That was awesome. The kayaks gave us a huge advantage in getting to these places, and to be able to do that with our friends and just laugh and enjoy the nature. I mean, it's an incredible location.
Yeah, we're fishing a tributary here, a river running into Nootka Sound, and it's inaccessible. You can't get here by boat. The only way you can really get up here is by kayak. And that's what the boys did today. They cruised up to this hole where there's a school of fish holding, and came up in their kayaks, We've already hit 3 or 4.
James, our guide, supplied us with some of these CJ Special spoons, I guess they are, yeah. They have a really nice wobble to them. And we're both casting. We've got all our fish on these things. They're very effective. I'm wearing my Coquetat paddling pants, and then they have a Gore-Tex stocking foot. And then I'm wearing a pair of Coquetat booties. So keeping my feet warm and dry.
Yeah, I was warm and dry. Kalani was wearing,
Targeting these salmon
wetsuit
in the rivers up here in
His
BC,
legs were freezing.
This water is incredibly clear. It's so important to have good fluorocarbon leader like we have from Seagar. Its clarity, invisibility is unmatched. These fish, when they hit, they take off like a rocket, but sometimes they might run around a tree. I mean, there's rocks and tree limbs and all kinds of stuff. So we knew we could rely on it to stand up to the abrasion that you might get from going around a tree or a rock. But we also knew that the fish weren't going to see it because it's virtually invisible in the water. There's really just no fluorocarbon leader that I would rather use than Seagar.
A fantastic week with Nootka Marine Adventures begins to come to its conclusion. The guys have just one more day to paddle and fish, one more chance to land the salmon of a lifetime.
I just decided to come up the river for the afternoon. I came up on this pool and it is just jugged full of fish. Couple casts in and
catching these decent sized fish on an actual like a bass style rod was very fun.
Jackson Kayak Kraken up here at Moutcha Bay Resort, and they're going to have those boats here now as rental boats. So if you come up here, you'll have the ability to use those. Another great boat for here, I think, would have been the Coosa HD. Being able to sight cast to the salmon, being able to see them a little bit better. Because there were times when the water was a little bit dirtier and you couldn't see them quite as well. And having a little bit higher perspective would have really helped. So having a stand-up kayak like the Coosa HD for the river fishing, I think would have been the perfect boat for that part of the trip. I'm going to get him back in the water real quick because he fought a long time. Get to this pool and just saw fish breaking in here. Had several hookups, but we missed a few, and then we both hook up at the same time.
We came upon a big school of fish, started jigging a lure, and this one bit. Drug me around for a bit on that kayak. I am so psyched. Oh my God. This is a beautiful, magnificent fish.
Yeah, brother, that one's in the mouth.
Humpback whales out there, man.
We got a bear coming our way. There are salmon in the river, and the bears realize that there's salmon in the river this time of year, and they're actively feeding on those salmon. They're not that worried about us. I just don't like to have a spooked by a bear. I like to know where they are at all times.
Man, what an awesome location.
Crap. Are you Jim Salmon? It's nice to see you, buddy. I see a look on his face.
And you start saying, oh crap, I thought there was another bear coming up behind me.
Had my first real introduction to wildlife. A little spooked. Had to take care of something. I had my head on a swivel. At every opportunity, I'm sure there was one coming out after me. And but we dropped lines and started hooking into salmon.
Yep. Just got to keep him out of these logs. Are we both on? We got a double hookup. Change sides. I don't like to thumb the spool normally, but I gotta keep him out of that wood. To say it's a big wood pile would be an understatement. Whoa! That was awesome. Look at that beautiful fish. They're so strong. Well, he's going to release himself.
Remember I talked to you about the jacks?
Yeah. Hold on. And mouth hooked. I like that. Oh, man.
What's going on, James?
Oh, we're just taking a little break here. Even I get a chance to do a little bit of fishing once in a while, so throwing a little muddler minnow out there and see what happens. We've had one on, lost a couple. But, nice to join the boys for a change.
We hit it off really well with James because very like-minded. We felt the same way about species protection, catch and release. The guy is a very well-educated angler. I mean, he knows a lot about fishing. So we were able to learn a lot from him, and I think he learned a lot from us watching how we deal with fishing out of a kayak. And he was excited about that. And that, again, just made it so much fun to work with him. Well, we've had a pretty epic day. Came up here, catch a bunch of salmon. I mean, saw wildlife. I mean, the bears, and wow. And then you got Kalani, who can't get out of his own way with a cast.
What you rigging up, Jim?
That was a little spoon, but it spins and flashes.
It's a CJ special manufactured in Duncan on the island. Man makes it by hand.
Yeah, what'd he say?
So yeah, just absolutely amazing place up there. You know, Kalani is from Hawaii. He lives here in San Diego now, but he's from Hawaii. I'm from San Diego. We don't see a whole lot of bears. People always ask me, he's like, you know, afraid of sharks, and aren't you afraid of getting bit by a shark? And like, no, I'm not. I don't even think about sharks. But I go to a place like this where there's bears. They kind of freak me out. And again, it's probably because we're just never around them. And James, our guide there, scared the living crap out of me when he ran up behind me. It was like totally startled us. But we literally had this one bear when we were fishing that one little bend there where those logs were. That, I mean, he was just fat and happy. You know, you could tell that he didn't care about us at all. He would just raise his head up from the other side of those logs every once in a while, kind of look at us, and then lay back down. It was just like, okay, well, this bear isn't one we need to really worry about too much right now. So, but there were, you know, we saw several bears on the trip, and we never had an issue. But I still am not. I'm no fan of bears. That's for sure. I posted up about sharing where you guys are from. Steve is watching from Haskell Oaks, Oklahoma. Thanks for watching from Oklahoma, man. Dave Myers, what line you were? Remember what line you were using? I was using Seagar Smackdown braid, probably because I was a low profile bait caster, probably using like 30 pound, and then 15 to 20 pound fluorocarbon, Seagar fluorocarbon leader gold label. Either that or Seagar fluorocarbon Premier, one of the two. I really like the gold label now though, because it is a smaller diameter. And Facebook user says, "Nice's Fish Jim." Yeah, Facebook user, you are watching from the Kayak Fishing Show group page. When you watch from the group page, you need to give the the page permission to show your name. Whenever you watch from a group, it's you need to give the broadcast software permission to show the name, unlike if you're watching it from the actual show page. So that's why it shows Facebook user, and I don't know who you are. It probably shows it on the group page, but it doesn't show on my software. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Like I said, I'm headed to the San Diego Padres game here in a few minutes, and hopefully we get a win in. Again, I will keep you all posted on what we're doing for this auction for our friends down in Louisiana. Like I said, I'm going to be going through some gear, picking out some new lures and some other stuff that I have, and I'll put a whole package together, and we will get that up and ready for you guys to bid on, and hopefully we can earn a few bucks for our friends in Louisiana. So again, thank you all for watching. If you are going out fishing, please remember to always wear your PFD and keep your paddle right side up. Y'all take care.
Word to the wise, if your mama ain't taught you, don't stand in front of a man and a fish he ain't caught yet. Honey, if the world calls me, tell him I'm fishing. I'm going fishing. Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Wouldn't you like to? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Wouldn't you like to? I'm going fishing. I'm going fishing.